So it's happening again. What's happening again? The whole crusade against the Hetalia Fandom. All over places like Discord and Tumblr, there are people spamming tags, harassing users, and worse, for liking Hetalia or posting things about Hetalia because it's problematic. Now, I already made a post and a video discussing the Nazi content in Hetalia, to which there is barely any, and Himaruya actually goes out of his way to avoid it. But it seems that most of the hate is calming down, and there are more posts on combating the hate than those causing hate right now. But I will continue to monitor it in the future. But I am going to try to go over what's happening and summarize it the best I can, and address some of the arguments that are coming up and dealing with the fandom. A lot of justifications for this harassment seems to stem from two parts: the problematic aspects of the series, which is the majority of the arguments, and the infamously toxic fandom. I will address the problematic aspects of the fandom today, and address the arguments against the series itself next week, since that is what the majority of the arguments are about, and I want to make sure that I addressed as many as possible. And of course, I am going to be talking about what went down during the crusade in this video. So, how did it all start? At first, a friend told me it was about some problematic fan art from 2010, but I heard from the actual source about what really happened. It all started with a post on Pick Crew by Tumblr user who was annoyed about some of the people there. Then it blew up when the user Skullgirl took a screenshot and made a post about it on Tumblr and slammed them because they were a Hetalia fan. Then a group of people decided to band together, and they took to the servers to spam things and send death threats. The raid started within about an hour. First the Christian fans of Hetalia server, then the Juritas server, then the Hetalia communication server. At the same time, a private RP server, an LGBT Talia server, and an English server were raided too. These people sent hate and death threats to Basement Prussia and their friends as well. They also used fake Tumblrs to put other people in danger. These were a group of people who already believed Hetalia was a racist problematic show, and so the fan art thing only fueled the fire. The fan art incident stemmed from Tumblr when someone found American Civil War fan art involving a slave. But this was merely fuel to the fire. But yeah, it was pretty bad. The person who posted this had legitimate concerns, as this art is indeed... just no. This isn't okay. Nor is it okay that the person is being harassed for calling out something that was not appropriate. However, this art is from 2010. While, yes, the art is very problematic, it is not representative of the current Hetalia fandom. And a lot of the people that are attacking the fandom at the moment don't seem to understand that the fandom has changed. The Hetalia fandom today is not what it used to be. Back then, it was a totally different beast. It was an awful fandom, and I have called it out numerous times, and it was a prime example of an awful fandom. People were getting harassed over ships left and right, people were doing Nazi salutes and cosplay, there was this hate campaign on all the female characters, there were really racist and insensitive fan art and fanfics everywhere, and the fandom was about 10 times bigger than it is now. Like all really big fandoms, it was impossible to control. Therefore, it was a large, crazy dumpster fire infested with weeaboos. It still is kind of infested with weeaboos, but it's not the trash hole that it was back in the day. The series was also a lot worse too, but that has also improved, but I will talk about that in another video. Yes, we still have a lot of weeaboos in the fandom, but that's because Hetalia is often a lot of people's first animes, if not one of their first animes. A lot of people in the fandom are still young and cringy. At least they will grow up and grow out of it. These people will look back at themselves in 3 to 4 years and say, Holy shit, I was a cringe lord. If we are going to blanket an entire series based on how awful their fandom is, or how awful a few bad apples in the past were, then we can totally do the same to other fandoms. That means every Steven Universe fan is a person who condones driving people to suicide over fan art. It happened in the past, and therefore it must be representative of the whole fandom today by your logic. They will most likely remain assholes for quite a while, since they are grown adults in their 20s and 30s, which makes things a lot more sad. If we are judging all the series to condemnation by their fandoms, we would need to boycott the Steven Universe and Undertale fandoms too. Hell, let's condemn all K-pop fans while we're at it, because clearly the majority of the fans are Sasang fans. You can't pick on a fandom like Hetalia and then ignore all the problematic fandoms that you happen to be in. Yes, the fandom was awful back in the day. However, over the years, the Hetalia fandom kind of died, if you haven't noticed. A bunch of people left the series, which was more often than not one of their first anime series ever, to go to other series that they found, such as Danganronpa or more commonly Homestuck back in the day, hence the Homestuck fandom picking up quite a lot of weeaboos from that. Sorry, Homestuck. After Homestuck ended, it lost a lot less people, but since 2015-2016, it's been pretty empty, and only recently it made a comeback. Currently, the fandom is half young weeaboos and half former fans who came back for nostalgia reasons. With a lot more senpais in the fandom is a lot more tame and not nearly as problematic as it was before, because there are actually older people to keep the fandom in check. Of course, a few problematic fanworks slip through here and there, but it's very, very rare, and it's met with reprimand instead of "oh, so kawaii desu." Fan art like this is bad history now, and the fandom is much smaller and has a lot less garbage people. I've been monitoring the fandom for a while now because, like many people still in it, I don't want it to go back to its previous state. Instead of attacking the older fans, you should be grateful for them. You saw what happened when there was a lack of older fans last time. Heck, go to any Yuri on Ice photo shoot, especially back in 2016, and you will see what happens when you have a lack of older fans in the fandom. And you will see what will happen when you let weebs take over your fandom. Do you really want Hetalia weebs to run amok again? No, no one wants that. It is better for both of us to just let the fandom be. Even if you find the show problematic, you're not going to get people to leave by attacking it. If anything, you are going to cause a Streisand effect and make people like the series more. You aren't going to make everyone dislike the series by harassing them. Instead, you're going to do the opposite. Some of the people that I have seen making anti-Hetalia posts have made anti-Hetalia posts in the past, and after seeing their logic, there is no way to argue against these people. They are people that are set in their ways, and no matter how many facts you throw at them, they won't change. It's very unlikely that they will ever change their minds. The most that we can do is report them or wait for them to get bored and move on with their lives. Not start with me. You started this, not me. I have receipts of the things you all have done. I have receipts of all the triggering content you have posted, all the death threats you and your friends sent, all the spam you've posted, posts about you condoning harassment, messages telling people to kill themselves, etc. I will not tolerate any of this behavior. Call me a racist or whatever the hell you want, but at least I'm being civil, unlike you lot. You don't have to like the series. You can still believe it's a racist piece of garbage for all I care. All I want is for people to stop spamming the tags, stop the harassment, stopping the raids to the discords, and just put an end to this crusade. I am more than happy to have a civil discussion with you, but you have to be civil and patient with me too.
But it's totally justified to harass these people. Hetalia is a show that glorifies Nazis.
Yeah, I'll get to that next week. I will show you why this isn't true, and I will do a video about as many problematic aspects of Hetalia that I can in the next video, since there are a few points that I missed in this video that I want to clarify. But at least I clarified the fandom argument in this video. So where do we go now? Well, I'm going to make a few videos addressing problematic features in Hetalia. I've been meaning to do so for a while anyways. Perhaps it is time that I finally address the Japanese imperialist elephant in the room as well. If this hate still continues, I will go through as many comments as I can and try to clear up some of the misconceptions. I'm not on any Hetalia Discord, so if you could send me screen caps of what's going on there, I would like to see them. Again, please don't harass any of these people. That's just what they want, and it gives them more fuel against us. Remember one of the key premises of the show: make pasta, not war.